Imagine if, in fact, you were in a coma for the last 8 years. You would have gone to sleep in a country in 2015 where inflation and interest rates were rock bottom, taxes were following it faster than any time in Canadian history. The budget was balanced. Crime had just fallen 25% so that small town folks could leave their doors unlocked. Our borders were secured. Our immigration system was uncontroversial. Everyone agreed it worked and was the best in the world. Housing costs half of what it does today. The average rent was $950, an almost laughably low number by today's standards. Take-home pay had risen by 10% after tax and after inflation in the preceding years. The New York Times had just called Canada the richest middle class. In fact, they said that Canada's middle class was richer for the first time than America's. At the time, of course, we had Prime Minister Harper, who was able to keep inflation and unemployment low even while the world suffered turmoil. But now you've awoken 8 years later to find a completely different place. Inflation, after hitting a 40-year high, is still 50% higher than its 2% target. The economy is shrinking in per capita terms. It's smaller than it was 6 years ago, perhaps the first time that has ever happened in Canadian history. Canada is expected to have the worst OECD growth out of 40 countries for the next 5.5 years and the next 35 years. It now takes 25 years to save up for a down payment for a mortgage in Toronto, and many people have had their existing mortgages extended to 90 years and 120 years, meaning their great-grandchildren will still be paying it off. Houses in Canada now cost 50% more than in the United States. You can buy a home, a castle in Sweden for a lower cost than it is for a 2-bedroom in Kitchener. Toronto is the worst housing bubble in the world. Vancouver, the third most expensive when comparing median income to medium housing prices. This is the nightmare that would have been unimaginable to you had you fallen into that coma and just awoken now. But there is good news. You don't want to fall back in the coma because the best is yet to come. We now have a common sense, conservative alternative that will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. We call on the Prime Minister to meet the premiers and talk to him about their desire to see the tax cut or eliminated altogether. Let us grant relief to our people now until there can be a carbon tax election where the people of this country will restore the common sense consensus that will allow anyone from anywhere to do anything, that their birthright is that with hard work you can afford a good home and good food in a safe neighborhood in the country we love. In this, all of our homes, your home, my home, our home, let's bring it home. Yes.